everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to the Roll Your Next Read reading vlog. So if you did not see my July TBR, I will link it down below. But one of the things I'm doing this month is from Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand and Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library. They did a summer activity kind of thing of Roll Your Next Read. So it was a game where you rolled your rolled a dice and it showed you different tropes or prompts or whatever, just to kind of guide your July TBR, or your June, July, and August, your summer TBR. But I'm doing it a month at a time. So in July, I picked 5 different prompts. And the first one is travel. And so I am reading The Chateau by Jaclyn Goldis. And this one is interesting. It is about 4 women who, they would always go to one of their grandmother's French chateau. And they studied abroad. One of them lives in France, and they would meet up there. And now the grandmother is turning 92 or something, or something like that, and she has asked all 4 women to come back, and we don't know why. 2 of them are married with kids. One is a breast cancer survivor, and she and her girlfriend have just recently broken up, and then the 4th one lives in Nice, France. And it's interesting to hear about the friendship dynamics then and now, and 3 of them live in New York, 1 lives in France. And there's kind of anytime you have a group of 4, there's kind of 2 versus 2 sometimes and whatever. But I am thinking this is okay, but it is really slow and there's a lot of perspectives. I'm 25 or 35% of the way through. I'm listening mostly on audio and nothing has really happened. We are just seeing things slowly unfold, and it's a part of the premise, part of the back of the book, that the grandma dies, and I think it's a suspicious situation. Who killed her? What happened? And I've got some suspicions, but not really. We're really just meeting these 4 women and hearing each of their perspectives. It's slow. I kind of took some character notes, even though I don't know that that's necessarily necessary. It's not really confusing, but it's just a lot of characters and I don't feel attached to any of them. And so I'm really hoping this kind of picks up now that they've set the scene. I know who everybody is. I'm hoping something starts to happen, because as it is, this is very mediocre at best. So tonight is an easy dinner night. On Tuesdays, we do sandwiches every night, and it is Tuesday. So we are just sitting outside right now, and I'm going to go in here soon and make dinner and just kind of have a relaxing evening. So hopefully I can get a good chunk of reading done. I've been having this weird insomnia that I can't really explain. And so last night I read a bunch in the night, not because any of my kids were up, but because I just couldn't sleep. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But if it does and I get a bunch of reading done, I will update you tomorrow. Hey everyone, so just a little update. I am 60 or 70% of the way through The Chateau, and it's not really getting any better for me. I'm gonna finish it because I'm intrigued enough. I just want to know the whodunit, but it's not that interesting, you guys. It's not that interesting. If you love it, tell me why. If you don't like it, tell me some solidarity. So that's my update. Hey everyone, so we are on our way to tennis, and I hope you can't hear the pump because I am pumping as we are here, but we're actually parked on our street because the trash guys come today, and my kids love, we have time this morning, and my kids, the recycling, I'm sorry, I'm being corrected, they love our recycling man. He's the kindest guy, and so they love watching him, so we're sitting on our street so they can watch him do our house. But anyway, so I finished The Chateau, and I did not like it at all. In fact, I'm giving it 2 stars, maybe even less than that. So I would say this is definitely more of a domestic drama than a thriller. So just get that expectation in your head when you go in, because it takes 30% of the book for a mystery to even happen. But also, this just tried to do way too much. It's almost comical, because there's infertility, there's cancer, there's anti-Semitism, there's cheating, there's all sorts of things that were just what else can I throw in? What else can I throw in? And there are so many points of views that it's just chaotic, and they're not confusing. All of the details of their story help you know who's who, but their voices are just about the same, and it's just not interesting, not good. Characters are poorly developed. There's so many subplots and stuff. It was literally she was just let's just word vomit onto a book and try to make it intense. And like the only positive I can say is that the Chateau itself was somewhat atmospheric. And there was like a minimal mystery to it, but like I just was not into it. And then by the end, I don't really care. I mean, surprise, woohoo, great. It just wasn't good. So, first roll your next read, not ideal. I am peppering these in, like I'm trying to make this take the whole month. Well, I'm not trying to make it take the whole month of July, but I have the whole month of July if it needs to. So, I'm like peppering this in with the Build Your Own Sunday catch-up-a-thon thing from Books and Jams, as well as like, my July book haul revisit. So like there's a lot of things that I'm kind of peppering in and out. So I will check in next time I read a book for this. Hey everyone. So I wish I should have like timestamped these clips of when I'm doing it, because I feel like my brain is like crazy scrambled because I am all over the place with this and catch-up-a-thon and just all the things. The way I do TBR, like when I do TBRs, like July TBRs or readathon TBRs, I go on my library app and request all of the books at once. And so generally I'm like super motivated to read because I'm like, I've got deadlines, I've got things. And so I'm like piecing everything together, trying to do it all at once. My July book haul revisit, like this is all happening at once. So you guys don't know that it's been a while, but it has been a while. And I am getting back to these reads now. And I have just finished, American Royals, and I liked this so much better than I thought it would. So this is, I would say, probably technically a YA. I think it is. And I am giving it 4 stars. This is by Katharine McGee. And so what this book is about is if after the Revolutionary War, America would have chosen to be a monarchy instead of a democracy, and the Washington family continued to reign. And so now it's present day, and there is a king, and he's got 3 kids. He's got Beatrice, who is his oldest daughter, and then twins who are Samantha and Jefferson. And they are, so in this world, the firstborn child is the one who becomes king or queen, regardless of gender. And I love that. So Beatrice is slotted to be the next queen, and so it is really just everything about their life. So Beatrice is dealing with the pressures of being the next heir, and they are wanting her to get married, all of that kind of stuff, because I'm guessing she's like early 20s, and so wanting her to get married and all these pressures, trying to get her with somebody who is suited to be like the queen's husband when that time comes. And so she's got this guy that's perfect on paper, but she's actually in love with somebody else, and so it's that story. And then Samantha is definitely like your spare. She's kind of the Prince Harry trope of she's kind of kind of a little bit wild. She knows she's the spare, one of the spares, I guess. And she was interesting. I really liked reading about her. She has a guy that she's in love with that she can't have. And so and then Jefferson has been dating this girl forever who is, again, kind of perfect on paper, but not who he wants to be with. And they break up right at the beginning. And he's got feelings for Samantha's best friend. And so she's a commoner though. So that's very not okay. And it's just all of the like dynamics and stuff. And yet there's enough of the familial relationships and the sibling relationships and all of that like I got attached to these characters, and I don't know how it happened. I mean, this was for my prompt of big, I think is what it was. And so this is a bigger book. It's pretty chunky. I mean, it's over 400 pages. And so I guess that's why. But then the end of this book leaves it on a cliffhanger, but it's not like a cliffhanger like other books that I've read lately that I feel like it's not a complete story. It is a complete story. It's just there. It's like, okay, we've closed this chapter and now we are on to this chapter. And I want to see how these people navigate these chapters. And so you get to know the 3 siblings as well as the other players that I mentioned. So the people that they have relationships with and the friendships and all of that, like you get to know all of them. And like, I feel like I'm a part of this Washington family friend group. And so I really, really enjoyed this. And I have, even though I've got like a huge TBR of other things, I have requested the next one, and so it's on my TBR, like it's on my soon TBR too, because number 4 I think comes out here in August. I think it was just on my anticipated reads for August, and so I've got some reading to do, so I've got catching up to do. And you guys, I finished this actually yesterday. Today is Sunday, July 16th, and I finished it yesterday. However, Yesterday was a nightmare. So this is just going to be story time. So Friday, we had a storm. It's summer in the Midwest. Storms happen. Tornadoes happen. And I don't even want to talk about my history with tornadoes because it is very innocent and not scary, and I'm like knocking on wood. But anyway, storm came, and it came from like 4 p.m. to like 8 p.m. And I was talking to my husband. I was like, gosh, I am so grateful for so many things today. This is Friday night, mind you. I'm so grateful that the storm came from 4 to 8 because my kids have major storm anxieties, and it feels like storms always come in the middle of the night. And so we are always not sleeping, and my kids, it's just, we all sleep together, and I've got 3 little kids, and so nobody's actually sleeping, and it's just a mess when storms come in the middle of the night. So I'm like, I'm so grateful this dang storm came between 4 and 8. And you guys, it was storming. They said hail and stuff. We didn't get any hail where I'm at, but they said wind gusts were 70 miles an hour, like 70 miles an hour. And you guys, I live in Kansas City. I live on the Missouri border, and not like Western Kansas. 70 miles an hour is still a lot, but like it's super flat, so there's not that much, like it just happens. It doesn't happen around here that often. And so it was windy. It was a storm. Things were happening. A lot of the Kansas City metro area lost power. We thankfully did not. We were good. At around 7 or 8 o'clock, the storm cleared up. Everything was good to go. Great. Hunky-dory. So then middle of the night comes, and I sleep. My baby still sleeps in my room, and we have a sound machine for both of us, really. And so the sound machine's going and stuff, and I wake up because our smoke detector our smoke alarm is beeping, and it's beeping like the battery's out, not like we have a fire going on in our house. It's just beeping like there's a battery going low. So I get my husband, and I'm like, hey, I need you to fix those batteries because this beeping, my sound machine, all that, like, stuff's going on. My sound machine was not working, so all I was hearing was the beeping. And so I was like, all right. So he's like, okay. So he goes to change the battery, and he's like, our smoke detectors are wired into the house. The reason it's not working is because we have no power. And so I immediately start freaking out because I'm weaning my daughter. She's almost 11 months old, and I'm weaning her. But because we have a big, big freezer stash of milk. And so I'm immediately like, oh my gosh, we are going to lose all that breast milk. And so I'm freaking out. If you guys are moms who have lactated and have breast milk before, it is like devastating to lose that. And you guys, there are so many hours of pumping and that kind of stuff in that freezer that I was just freaking out. And so he's like, well, I could try to power it by the van. Like, we have a van that has a power cord. So he tried to do that, like all these things. And so I'm just ruminating, like, what can I do to do this? Like, do we go get dry ice in the middle of the night? What do we do to save this milk and our food and everything? I mean, I was stressed about that, but like, you can always rebuy groceries. I can't remake breast milk. So, freaking out, he goes at 6 a.m. when Lowe's opens to get a generator, and because he was like, well, where do I go? Because everywhere, looking at the map on the like electric company's website, he was like, everywhere's out of power. I mean, the whole, from like the middle of Kansas all the way into Missouri, supposedly had tons and tons and tons of power outages. They were saying like 183,000 people in Kansas City alone did not have power. In our county, our city, there was 90-some thousand. And so we're like, where are we going to go? So I call Lowe's, and I'm like, hey, do you guys have power? And he's like, power? I was like, electricity? And he's like, yeah. And so I was like, okay, do you still have generators in stock? And he was like, yeah, like acting like he had no idea what was going on. And so my husband goes at 6 a.m. to get a generator. Mind you, the power has been off almost 7 hours at this point, and I have been awake almost 7 hours because anxiety high. So he goes and he calls me, and he's like, our cul-de-sac is like the only one that does not have power. And we lost power 5 hours after the storm stopped. What the heck? And so we did not have power the entire day. the entire day, which is fine. Total first world problems. He bought the generator. He bought like a cheap generator, just enough to keep the freezers okay. And so we go. My kids had baseball yesterday, and it's 100 degrees, literally 100 degrees. And I, mind you, have slept maybe an hour, and so I am like almost in tears, thinking of well, I'm almost in tears, truthfully, because I'm so exhausted. But thinking of coming home from 4 hours in the baseball heat to no AC, and just like total pity party, first world problems, rough day. And the place that my kids are playing baseball, normally it's right by a middle school. It's in a middle school, like in the fields by the middle school. And so you can go into the middle school to cool off and to go to the bathroom and to do all those things. And on our way there, I get a text that's like, the school's closed today, no bathrooms, no nothing. And there's porta potties way off in the distance. And so get there. Of course, both my kids have to go to the bathroom. Parenting in a porta potty is my least favorite thing. So we made it work. And then while we were there, I had been trying to borrow some more books. And you guys, I use the Brooklyn Public Library card. If you guys don't know, you could pay $50 for a year and you get access to Brooklyn, New York's full library e-catalog, so the ebooks, the audiobooks, and that's where I get most of my books, because shockingly, I live in a city, and yet my city does not have nearly as much as they do. So you have to call to renew, either call or email to renew. You can't just renew it online. So I call to renew, and they're like, after 12 years, we've decided we're no longer going to do that. Just the cost has gotten too high. It's no longer sustainable for us. And so I'm like, kick me while I'm down. She was like, you can keep anything that you have checked out, like until it expires, and then that's it. And you guys, but then bless the Lord, because my husband, we've got good friends. We're pretty good friends with all of our cul-de-sac, and he had texted the neighbor across the street, and he was like, hey, if you've got a long extension cord, you can plug it in this generator. And he texted that, and then like 5 minutes later, that neighbor text, it was like, thank Jesus, the power just came on. And then I got text from all over, because I had texted my whole neighborhood, like, do you have power? What do we do? And they all text that we got power back. So we got power back about an hour before we got home from baseball. So we had air conditioning. My husband, he left as soon as he heard we had power to come unplug the generator and like fix everything here, so we would come home to a cool house. And it was a story. So yesterday I like got a migraine because I had not slept, and been in the heat all day and all that kind of stuff. And so I wanted to like talk about this, because I finished it yesterday and I really liked it, and I feel like I've been kind of slumpy. So I really wanted to talk about it, but I was like, I just cannot bring my sad sack of a self on camera right now. And so I didn't. And today I'm feeling much better. Last night we were all tired. We were all really tired. Like I took a nap with the kids. But it was like 30 or 45 minutes, because that's just the way it goes. And I like woke up feeling worse than when I went to sleep. And so we all zonked out last night, and I'm feeling like a new human today. So excited about this. And now I picked up Someone Knows by Lisa Scottoline, and I'm liking it. It's upstairs, but I'm liking it quite a bit. I love Lisa Scottoline. Like, I like her as a person. I've read a lot of her memoirs, and I think she's funny, and I also like her thrillers. This one, however, is told from like 8 perspectives. It's like 4 different kids, I think, maybe even 5. 4 different kids, and then their parents also. And I love the idea of this. Like, I love books like this that you get, like, they're not YA, because they are definitely adult topics, and we're getting both like the parent and the kid perspective, so it makes it feel like we get the whole community perspective, especially because all these different people fit in different places in the community. So I really like that strategy and that way, like that writing style. However, I feel like 8 to 10 characters is a few too many. So I'm liking it, but it's one that like you really need to like binge the first
100 to 150 pages. So then you're not like jumping in and out and trying to figure out who's everyone. And it gives their first and last name. So it's pretty easy to like figure out, because you meet all the kids first and then you meet their parents. So it's making sense. It's just a lot. So I will update when I finish it and hopefully have less eventful time to talk about. So we'll see you soon.
Hey everyone, it is so muggy outside. It today like has been gloomy all day, and it said no rain, no rain, no rain, and then it started downpouring, and like the air is thick. That is my least favorite part about living in the Midwest, is the disgusting humidity. So anywho, today has been a glorious day because I was supposed to have a meeting this morning. It got canceled. And so instead, I have my babysitter here, and I got a bunch of stuff done. And I have like a little, the room I film in is like part of our schoolroom, part of books, all that kind of stuff. And it was my goal to get my desk cleared off, just because I have like different school projects that we're working on, all sorts of stuff on my desk. And then it ended up being like, I ended up switching bookshelves and made it a way bigger project, to the point that after 3 hours, I think I have more of a mess than when I started. But it feels so good because I'm like very close to very organized. I'm trying to get ready for our next school year, because we are, if you don't know, we homeschool, and I think we're going to be year-round homeschoolers. But so we're still doing school, but I'm gonna try to make like a fun first day of school here in a couple weeks. And my 3-year-old is really wanting to get in on the action, so just trying to get everything planned, get all my ducks in a row. We're also going to introduce doing a little bit more science than we have, so whatever, that's not why you're here. So that was my goal this morning. And while I was doing all of that, I was listening to a book. But I finished Someone Knows last night, and I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I stick with my guns in that there are way too many perspectives. We get 5 kids. So there's 4 kids, and then a new boy comes into town. So we get all of their perspectives as well as all of their parents' perspectives. And I loved I love that writing style. I think I talked about this already. I love that writing style because I feel like you're really immersed in the community. You get to see everybody's perspective and a lot of different angles on things, and there's just a lot of dynamics. And so I feel like that is really great. And the group of friends, it's like the 3 cool kids. It's David, Julian, and Sasha, I think is her name. And then Allie is kind of our main character. Like, she's the first one that you get into. And she's not a cool kid, and they invite her like this one night. And, yes. Okay. So it's them, and then a new kid comes in, and then all their parents. And so all those perspectives were necessary to the story. What happens is one night things go very wrong with these kids, and somebody ends up dead. And, I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, except that obviously we get all their perspectives, and the first half is told when they are teenagers. The second half is told 20 years later, and the effects of this night and what they have on them. And I feel like some of the tension was lost because there is a lot of paranoia that was kind of unjust and didn't feel justified, at least. And so there was a little bit of tension lost there. Also, just all the perspectives kind of made the middle get a little cloudy, and that not in a confusing way necessarily, but just in a like chaotic way. And my other major complaint is that Allie is described a lot by her size and her weight, and that she's bigger and all that kind of stuff. And then it says her weight at one point in the story, and it is not a large size. And even if it is, saying a specific number ostracizes people, and I don't see the purpose except to be harmful. Like, it really serves no purpose. And the big 2 are outside playing while Edda's inside napping, and yeah, whatever. The garage is a project for a different day, so there's a little bit of toys everywhere over here. But anyway, so I don't see the purpose in that, and like that really rubbed me wrong. But in general, I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoy the writing style, and I don't know how it would have, like I said, all the perspectives or all the people in the story were necessary to the story, so I don't know necessarily how it would have been edited down, but I do feel like it needed to be edited down a little bit. So I'm not going to say much more than that about the plot, just because There's a lot of twists and turns, as Lisa Scottoline does, so I highly recommend. So then last night I started The Last Word by Taylor Adams, and Someone Knows was my prompt of color, because there's a lot of cool colors on the cover. And then The Last Word by Taylor Adams is scary. It's my prompt for scary, and it is scary. It was freaking me out. It definitely is a very Taylor Adams-esque book. I've only ever read No Exit. I have not read Hairpin Bridge, and it's got very similar tone and vibes, where it's high stakes, short term, like it's like a 24-hour period, and it is kind of gruesome at times, and definitely like you kind of cringe at times. The paranoia is high. Like as the reader, the paranoia feels really high, and so this is about a woman who writes a 1-star review of an ebook, a horror ebook, and the author like first comes to her kind of politely and says like, hey, can you take that down? And she says, with all due respect, no. And the two kind of go back and forth, and then she feels like she's being stalked. And what's going on? Don't know. I'm almost done with it because I had so much time this morning to do stuff, and my sister loved this book, and so I talked to her earlier because I don't know if it's the best one to listen to, because there's a lot of like confrontational scenes and big explosive scenes that get a little bit, that get a little bit confusing or like hard to follow when you're listening to audio, especially when doing other things. And so I am almost done, like 20 minutes left, but I'm going to re-listen to some stuff and make sure I've got all the connections and all the things that I need to get. So I will update more about that later, except to say the first half really hooked me, and it's been okay so far. Like, it's been pretty good so far. Things that happened is I need a golden retriever. She has a golden retriever in this book. I love golden retrievers, and now I need one. So thank you, Taylor Adams. But I will check in more once I finish that. Hey everyone. It is like 1,005 degrees out and so sunny, but it is like back and forth sun of like, is it going to be cloudy? Is it going to be sunny? And apparently right now it's going to be sunny. So I have finished the last 2 books for this. So I finished The Last Word, and y'all, I think I'm in camp dislike. So this book is, I don't remember what I said in the last clip, but it is about a woman who writes a 1-star review of a horror novel, and she basically wrote it saying it's so unrealistic and silly and all that kind of stuff, like why this is stupid. And then the author asks her to take it down, and she says no, and the two kind of squabble back and forth, and then she feels like she's being kind of stalked, and she is house sitting, and so she feels like somebody's in the house with her, all that kind of stuff. The paranoia was high. Like, I would say I definitely felt creeped out. I felt scared because this was for the prompt scary. So I felt scared. But that is like one of my things that, like, I sleep with a sound machine and everything, because otherwise I swear people, like, I hear things, like, it just is a paranoia, I understand that for sure. And so there's some things about her that are a little bit like, are we sure we can trust her, all that kind of stuff. So whatever, that is the story. And then it just all goes down there. I'm not going to say any details, but there is like so much that goes down, and it's so many huge plot holes and so unbelievable that, like, it's almost like, okay, so is Taylor Adams making a statement about the fact that, like, you read horror thrillers, whatever, not necessarily for the realism, but just for the kind of jump scares? Like, is that the point? And that it is so silly it's laughable? Like, is that the point? Because if so, that, like, if this is supposed to be satire or a parody or something, then, like, okay, yeah, we did a good job. If this is supposed to be like an actual thriller, scary throughout, then no, this was super dumb. Like, super dumb. And there are so many things that, like, would never happen, and so many things that, like, in fact, I called my sister because she just recently read this book, and I'm like, am I missing connections here? And she's like, no, you just have to kind of go with it. And I don't need like 100% realism in my books to enjoy it, but this one just felt too over the top, and it felt like I said, like, if his purpose was to make kind of satirical horror, then okay, great, you know, like then I guess he made that statement, but that is not something I'm into. Like, I'm not into the Scream movies and stuff that's like just kind of satirical horror, and that's what this felt like to me. And so I think maybe 3 stars. Like, I don't know, the tension kind of disappeared because things were just, it was just unhinged, like in a weird, crazy, unbelievable way. So that's all I'm really gonna say about it. Good premise. Execution was meh. I don't buy any of it. I liked the first third or half or whatever, where we're getting to know our main character, and she's got some stuff in her past, and some relationship stuff that has happened with her husband, and her, like, all of that is very interesting to me, and like that kind of comes back around in the end, and I was intrigued by that. But like the actual thriller part of it, I thought was over the top and silly. Like, I don't know. So did not love that. Then I moved on to Sister Stardust by Jane Green. So this one is for the prompt of buzzword, because sister is a buzzword. I love stories about sisters or whatever. Found sisters, actual sisters, whatever the case may be. And this one, so Jane Green is one of my favorite. She's British. She's like a women's fiction kind of chick lit author, and she does it really well, like kind of in the Sophie Kinsella vein of just kind of easy, you know, popcorn reads. And this one is her first attempt at like historical and nonfiction. So it is about a woman named Claire who just a lot of things have happened in her life, whatever. She runs into this woman who is an actress, model, Talitha, I can't remember her last name, and Talitha is a real person. She was married to an oil heir. She's an actress and model and all of that. And so our main character, Claire, gets wrapped up with her. They end up going to Marrakesh, and it's set in the 60s, and it's basically like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and all of the stuff that's entailed with that. And it just, they become really good friends, and we find out that Talitha's life is not the perfect picture that you see, which of course it's not. I mean, no celebrity, every celebrity has people ensuring that their life looks perfect, and it's not. I guarantee it's not. And so, like, we get to know the darker sides of her life and what's going on, and it's just like, it was boring. And like, if the purpose was to tell the story of Talitha, then why didn't we get Talitha's perspective? Because we're getting everything outside, and I just did not care at all. Not at all. And so I gave this 2 stars. This is by far my least favorite Jane Green. I'm really disappointed that like I picked it up, and it was just released in 2022. So she was trying something new, and I commend her for that. And I think that's great. But I didn't like it. So I hope she goes back to like her bread and butter. So that is everything for Roll Your Next Read. It was so fun to play this game, and I know it goes, I think, June, July, and August, so I might play again for some August reads, although I will admit that like juggling this vlog and catch-up-a-thon and my July book haul revisit and other things I'm working on, like it was a tricky juggle. And so I don't know if I'll do 5 again, or if maybe I'll just do 3. I don't know, but the prompts are really fun, and figuring out what I could like pick and slot. This is not exactly what I had on my TBR for this stuff. So so far I've really enjoyed having like a TBR-esque game, and so I may do this again in August. So let me know if you want to see it again in August. Was it fun? Are you doing it? Yeah, and if you've read any of these books, heard about them, I want to know your opinion on The Last Word, because some people really love it. And I think if you could go in expecting kind of over the top, maybe a little satirical, then you might enjoy it better. It does. So back to this, sorry. But I think Taylor Adams definitely has like a formula. I've only read No Exit and this one, and I really liked No Exit, and I think it's the formula I think will get old for me. It's 24 hours. It is a woman in an isolated place, kind of in danger because men, and kind of a little bit gruesome, a lot of it like stressful, or attempts at stressful, extreme conditions, all that kind of stuff.
all, and I might have already said this, but all in like 24-ish hours. And I think in No Exit, it was the first time I had read that in a while, especially it was the first time I had read that from Taylor Adams, and that style was really interesting. Again, there were some times in there where you had to suspend your disbelief, but in this one, it just bothered me more, and I don't know why. So yeah, I wonder, I've not read Hairpin Bridge because I've not heard anything good about it, and I wonder if that's like just what he's gonna do, and if so, like, will that continue to work? Because this felt like a very similar story, just different details. So anyway, that's it. This is gonna be a bear to edit, bouncing back and forth. So it's actually Thursday, and I'm gonna try to get this out tomorrow. So if you guys see it on Friday, then drop me a comment that says way to go on getting it edited, because it is just about nap time. And the baby has been getting teeth. She's got 3 now, but I can see like 4 more just about to pop through, which means she's been waking up at like 3 in the morning and just being a bear to get to sleep. And my point is, I'm just exhausted. So a lot of days I can get all 3 to nap at the same time. So if that works out for me, then I'm gonna nap and then hopefully get up and edit. And I'm trying to I think I'm gonna make omelets in a waffle maker tonight, just because one of my kids will eat omelets, the other 2 will not. And I'm thinking maybe in a waffle maker they will. I don't know. So we'll see. I'll try it. And yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.